What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Coach Black, your internet, relationship, and breakup coach. Today's topic: exes will always chase and come back to you when this happens. The fourth fundamental law. Now, on this channel, I very seldom talk about my personal relationships. Not just for my sake, but also for the sake of the person or people that I have dated or will date in the future. I want to maintain that privacy. But the one time that I did talk about a specific situation, keeping things vague, people did seem to enjoy that. So I'm going to expand on that situation here because the lesson absolutely applies. Now, I'm going to link that video if you haven't watched it before, so you can check it out, so you can see the story I'm talking about. But this ex specifically is one of the ones that made the hugest impact on me because, like I said, we had that soulmate type of connection, like a really deep and intimate relationship, something that feels like once in a lifetime. That can't be replaced. And what's sad is that most people will never get to experience this because it's very unique. But I do believe that you can experience this multiple times. However, it's extremely rare. Our first date was magical. And again, I talked about this in the last video, but we were completing each other's sentences to where people that were around us during the date assumed that we had been together for a very long time. We had a very strong and intimate bond and connection. And so when that relationship ended, she broke up with me at the time. It sent me into a spiral. I couldn't eat for several days. I couldn't sleep. I bargained and negotiated with her and really tried to save the relationship as quickly as possible because, this was my person. It's almost like someone asking you to go without water. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, how can you comprehend that? How can you handle it? So naturally, I didn't handle it well, but it inspired a lot of the learnings. It made me dive deep and start watching videos about relationships, attraction, attachment style, all of these things. This relationship was the genesis of those learnings for me. And so I talked about how when I finally implemented no contact weeks after the breakup, she reached out to me with this long negative message. And I accepted it. I accepted the breakup. I said, you're right, and I think we should just focus on ourselves and go our separate ways. And it was not long after that she started initiating more text, even though I just accepted and I just agreed to walk away. She was initiating more text messages. And with what I was learning, I took the initiative and said, hey, why don't you come over to my place so we can talk about the things you want to talk about? And I remember that text message. It's really the text message that changed everything for me. But I remember that text message because when I sent it, when I invited her over, she said, I don't think it's a good idea, even though she wanted to talk about things as well. She's like, I don't think it's a good idea. Now, that day, I happened to be busy. It was a busy work day. I had a bunch of meetings. I had a bunch of calls with clients. I had, my manager wanted to talk to me about certain things. It was just an extremely busy day. And so I read the text message, but for some reason, I wasn't able to articulate and send something back. And so I read it, set the phone down, went about my day, and hours later, she's like, hey, I can actually come over. I'm free. I'll be there at such and such time. And it was a very fascinating turn of events because literally weeks before I went no contact, I was begging and chasing and pleading for the opportunity for a conversation. And even after no contact, even though I was more poised and I was behaving in a more attractive way, she still didn't jump at the opportunity to show up at my place. And her initial response was like, kind of flaky, like, I think I changed my mind. But I did not respond because I happened to be busy. And now all of a sudden she has all this free time and she's ready to come over. That brings me to the fourth fundamental law, which is extremely important. When it comes to negotiations in life, understand that always whoever cares the least wins. And I know it sounds crazy because you're probably thinking like a relationship should not be a competition, and it isn't. But again, these are the things that whether you love, hate, or like, there are fundamental behaviors about human beings that are just true. And this is one of those things. Everything in life you're negotiating in one way or the other. Whether it's when someone is trying to hire you for a job and they say, hey, I can pay you $80,000. You have a choice to either accept that or to counter. And if you don't counter and you take what they offer the first time, you're likely going to be making less than you could potentially make. This is the difference between getting the life and outcomes that you want versus always being behind the 8 ball. Let me tell you, essentially, when it comes to a breakup, you've been pouring into your ex for years. You love them, especially if you had that kind of deep soul tie connection like the one that I was talking about. And so you've put so much into this person, into this relationship, in ensuring the success into the future. So it's very difficult to go from that to your ex telling you like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to move on with my life. And so you go from almost the most important person in their life to them demoting you to someone who's a non-factor. Now, if you want to get back into a relationship, you are negotiating. They just offered you something that you do not want. You have a choice. You accept it. All right, you accept the friend zone and try to suppress the feelings that you have for them, or you say, no, I'm not going to accept a lesser position because this is what I deserve. So you're negotiating with your ex. And so if you want to negotiate from a place of power, you have to care less, meaning you have to have an abundant mindset, because when you care too much, this is what tends to happen. So I was talking to a client today, actually, and he was telling me how, he wanted his ex to do all of this pursuing. He wanted them, since they broke the relationship, he wanted them to put in more effort. He wanted them to chase him. He wanted them to call. And I totally understood that. However, the reality of the case was he wasn't even doing no contact. He was initiating contact with his ex. He was always expressing his feelings and how much he missed them and all of these things, but still expecting his ex to put in effort. The thing is, when you care so much, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't love your ex, sometimes you have to fake it to make it in the beginning. But when you care so much, when you're so invested, when you put your ex's needs above your own and you prioritize them and you put them on a pedestal, even after they dumped you, well, 1 week of no contact starts to feel like 3 months. And when they send you that first text message, 1 minute in between text messages feels like an hour. It feels like 2 hours. So you start to get more anxious. Now you start to say and do things that you shouldn't because you're trying to fix the relationship as quickly as possible. So maybe your ex sends you a text, you respond, but they get busy with work. You send 2 text messages. Don't you want to talk to me? Why are you too busy to respond? You get angry because you're too invested. And even if you feel those things, you want to suppress them as much as possible. The only way your ex will come back and chase you, the only way, is if they believe that being back in this relationship is their idea. All right. And this is very difficult to fake because, again, there's a Bible verse that I love that says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So it's very difficult for you to suppress all of the things that are inside of you. When you care so much, it's going to come out in your actions, in your words, in your deeds. You're going to say things that make your ex feel like they are still better than you. I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to a client or they're emailing me and they'll say things like, do you think I'll possibly ever get another chance with her? And again, as much as you love your ex needs to get another chance with you. They need to get another chance with you. If you're texting your ex and saying things like this, will you please give me another chance? You're subconsciously telling them, you're better than me. I still have you on a pedestal. And would you please do me the honors of being in a relationship with me? When you are a catch as well. Your ex is lucky to have you. And that is how you need to carry yourself. What you need to remember is this. At the end of the day, when your ex broke up with you and you were fighting for the relationship and you were begging and you were chasing, they wanted to leave and you wanted to stay. At that point in time, you wanted to be in the relationship more than they did. And as you can see, that didn't work out for you because they still stuck with the breakup. They didn't care about the fact that you're crazy about them, about the fact that you love them, or about the fact that you want to be in the relationship. All they cared about is, how do I feel right now? And if your ex is not the one initiating all the text messages, if they're not the one like pursuing you and you're saying things that put yourself as lesser than them, you will never get them back. So no contact is a very important part of the strategy, absolutely. But what's even more important is the moments or the days and the weeks after no contact. Do not treat your breakup as a problem that you need to solve today. It doesn't have to be solved today. And that's the vibe you need to give your ex. Like, you don't need to be in a relationship with them. Matter of fact, you don't want to be in a relationship with them unless they've changed. So bringing up things like, where is this going? What are we? Are we in a relationship? Do you want to get back together? They should be saying those types of things. You shouldn't. You should be acting like they're on trial with you as well. You're watching them. You're seeing if they've grown, if they are enough of a catch for you to get back in a relationship with them. And when you act that way, I'm telling you, it is extremely, extremely attractive, but it's very difficult to do. And that's why I say your ex will chase you, because I've experienced it myself. And the clients that I have that have been successful with getting their ex back, there's always this vibe like they live in a state of abundance. They have other options. So if you find yourself, always be critical, always be thinking. When you're about to say something to your ex, when you're about to send a text message, ask yourself, how does this make me look? Does it make me look like an equal to my ex, or does it make me look like I'm beneath them? If your ex texts you and they take 2 hours to text you back, why don't you take 3? I know it sounds subtle. I know it sounds crazy. This is only for the period after no contact. When you're back together, the relationship will slowly get back to where both of you are putting in equal amounts of effort. But during a breakup, your ex needs to put in the most effort. And the only way they're going to be doing this is if you're giving them the space to chase you. You can't solve all the problems. You can't initiate contact. You cannot double and triple text them. You can't tell them how much you love and miss them before they even say any of those things to you. Because it's those very actions that will chase them away. Anyway, if you have any thoughts, comments, go ahead and drop it down in the comment section below. If you want to talk to me about your situation, click the first link in description, and I'd love to talk to you and support you during your breakup journey. If you haven't already, this is important. If you haven't already, like this video, please. It really does help out the channel, and it means so much. All right, I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, okay? I do go live on this channel, but it's kind of sporadic, okay? I don't want to have a set live schedule currently, just because of some of the conflicts with, the work I'm doing currently. All right, so subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and when I go live, YouTube will notify you so you don't miss those live sessions, and you can ask whatever question you want for free, okay, if you cannot afford currently to book a call. Appreciate you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.